Newcastle match at Wolves just ended, and that one definitely feels like a bit of a soul crusher. Newcastle taking the lead in the 56th minute through Isaac Hayden, but then again, as we've seen so many times this season, dropping points at the death. This time coming in what I would certainly describe as a bit of a controversial moment. The ball being pumped into the box by the Wolves players. At one point, Miguel Almiron, making his debut, had the ball in the corner and seemed to be clattered over when the clock had almost no time left on it. No foul called. Ball played back out and put back into the box. This kind of floating cross at the back post. And Willy Bolly, who, if you remember, in the first match between the two teams earlier this season, elbowed Ayoze Perez, what would have been a penalty, not called a foul, and a game that we lost in the last minute. He goes up and wins a header over Martin Dubravka. Ball goes into the net, essentially last touch of the match. Not going to talk about the time going longer than expected. That's what happens in injury time. Newcastle made a substitute, so that adds some time onto the clock. I certainly thought it looked like a foul on Dubravka. Bolly having both hands over Dubravka's face at a point in time when going up for that header. A lot of people criticizing Dubravka, saying he should have punched the ball. That is true. It certainly looked like a foul on that play. It looked like a foul on Almiron earlier in that play. Again, not called, and you would have thought Newcastle would have taken their time, played the ball out, and the clock probably would have ran out. But either way, it's a really, really difficult result for Newcastle, and I see people on social media saying, going into that match, I would have taken a point. I would have taken 7 points from Wolves, Spurs, Cardiff, and City going to those 4 matches. That kind of falls flat on me, that argument, would have taken a point before the match. It is situational, and when you're in such a tight relegation battle, when you're tied on points with a team that's in the third relegation place, you need to be getting points when you can get them. And yes, I agree that I would have taken 1 point away at Wolves. The Wolves have been fantastic this season, but the way that match played out, the way that Rafa Benitez, the master tactician, completely outcoached Nuno Espirito Santo. We neutralized the wing players on Wolves. We held tight at the back, 3 at the back, 2 wingbacks, Richie and Yedlin. Yedlin certainly did not have a good match, but either way, we were covering each other. The space that Yedlin or Richie would give up going forward was covered by Schär, was covered by Lejeune, and the team was looking tight. I think Sean Longstaff and Isaac Hayden in the middle of the park were phenomenal. Longstaff has now played 8 matches for Newcastle and is just getting better and better and better with every match. People are comparing him to a Michael Carrick type player. It is that composure that he showed. He was a man of the match and he deserved it. And so we were playing so well. We were neutralizing that attack. We were holding strong. We did not have a lot of possession, but when we got it, we were calm on the ball. Rondon doing his part as that kind of isolated talisman up top and getting that goal in the 56th minute by Hayden. Again, a good through ball by Fabian Schär, touch, shot, goal, Hayden. And we were looking so good. Almiron coming on late in the match for his first appearance for the club, the record signing, the exciting player, and looked lively. He looked like he wanted it. There was this hunger on him, almost playing with a chip on his shoulder, coming out of the U.S. as the highest transferred player out of the MLS to a European league. And the team was looking good, and that's why this result, for me, is very difficult to deal with. And harping back, you can say we would have taken a point going into that match, but you can't keep using that mentality when you're in such a relegation fight. We have Huddersfield coming up next. Again, what seems like the 3rd or 4th week in a row where we say this is the biggest match of the season. And if we can't be getting the victory, if we drop points there, it doesn't matter how well we're playing. We're going to be in the relegation battle. Going forward, the team did look bright. Positives. Almiron looked very energetic on his debut. Longstaff getting better and better. Him and Hayden forming this very unlikely partnership in the center of midfield. The defense looked fairly sure throughout the game. I thought that Lascelles did not look very good. He's had this kind of weird off-season since his season last year where he was possibly the best player on the squad. Dubravka, I'm not going to blame him for that loss. I do think he should have punched the ball, but at the same time, it did look like a foul. Overall, that's a very tough one. Need the 3 points in the game against Huddersfield. Nothing less than that. No draw. I don't care how well we're playing. If we do not get 3 points, we are in the thick of things, and that is it. So going forward, need to stop making those mistakes, need to be getting the results. The referees, that's not part of it. It's our performances that matter, and we need to be getting the win against Huddersfield next weekend.